Hello. Okay, so this is maybe like the 5th time I've started this audio and kept deleting, or I didn't get very far, just maybe like a minute at the most. I haven't recorded in about a week, something like that, and I have been feeling similar repeating like messages, synchronicities, different meditations and dreams, all kind of weaving together. And so I was closing my eyes and seeing where to start. And then I kept finicking with the audio because, I'm new to this and I'm noticing different things. And so, it took me a few times. I'm watching my friend's cat who I'm staying with, and she just meowed. So that could be for someone. And she doesn't meow that often. Yeah, and I just heard in my head, use your voice. So these false starts, seemingly false starts, could be a message in itself. And now I've been hearing this song a lot lately in my head. Aaliyah, Dust Yourself Off and Try Again. So it's like not allowing these false starts, seemingly false starts. I mean, really, they all are gearing up to something to hold you back. And when I went to record this video now, or it's not a video, the audio, I kind of sat with myself for a second and I was like, what is it that would really like assist right now? And right away I thought about, some like background music. So I typed something in on my computer, and what popped up right away was sound of flute Tibetan clearing. Actually, I didn't type anything. I just went on YouTube and that happened to be there. And I've never listened to this one specifically before. And it also is titled The Mind of Negative Thoughts, Eliminate Stress and Calm the Mind. And so if you hear that in the background, that's what it is. And I did some intentions and a quick meditation before I started this, protection, etc. And some light language actually did come through, so that could be relevant for someone as well. Maybe you are just finding your voice and expressing light language, or maybe it's something you're just learning about. It could be something you are being called to explore, because earlier I was also feeling into a lot of like throat and mental connection and the eyes. So that whole area has been like really of concentration. And as I was sitting earlier, I was in the bathroom actually, and in my friend's place I'm staying, when the sun is out at certain points, it like reflects off of the wall through this like wavy glass. That's not the correct word. I can't think of the word at the moment. Another thing, words. I have been really like having to rely on other senses to describe things. Like usually I have a really good memory with words, but sometimes when I'm receiving information or channeling, the words will kind of get lost. And if you do this yourself, you might know what I'm talking about. And if not, this could just be like an invitation to, instead of getting frustrated with yourself for what you're used to relying on, for example, like not remembering certain words when you need it in the moment, but relying and sharpening other senses or other parts of ourselves to come to what you need in the moment. So like, for example, I couldn't remember the word, but I could feel it. So I could describe something by the way it feels, or the way it sounds, or utilizing different senses of myself. And what I kept hearing was like mental clearing, mental purification. And so when these mental purges are happening, and again, through the throat and through the eyes, I keep seeing, it can just be, an invitation to take that frustration. I'm not saying that whoever's listening to this is going through this frustration, but if you do notice yourself kind of getting frustrated, like, why do I keep like forgetting this, or why do I keep doing this, or why does this keep happening? just an example of that's something you could be saying to yourself or feeling. I'm hearing it's just an invitation to heighten and allow the mental purge and purification. And I keep hearing the Arcturians, so if you connect with that energy, now we could talk about in another video. I keep saying video, this is an audio, but I suppose it's still a video. The Arcturian collective, and what that means to what that means really, and the star constellation, and I believe they're represented by the bear, which is very funny. I just remember another dream I had where it was a few days ago, and I was in bed at this house that I had never been to before, and it was kind of like sleeping with real life stuffed animals. There were these like baby animals, and one of them was a bear, and I was sleeping with this baby bear. And so, yeah, any of these things that I'm saying could have a deeper symbolism for you personally. My left ear just started to ring, and or you can, look these things up. And I find when I've connected with the Arcturians, now, we talk about like star beings, etc. There's so many points of connection and personal experiences with these different beings. So, I've heard some people say that they are just, humans developed at a different time signature. And, that's a whole deeper talk that I continue to have with myself. And as I have these experiences, just something to keep in the back of your mind. And when I say just humans, I mean like different developments of, I heard in my head bipedal, so, upright, 2 legs, developments of the human template in different, parts of our solar system, our universe. And I didn't expect this to go so cosmic and so expanded right away. So I'm going to kind of bring it back down. But yeah, with that, I would say like 2 weeks ago, I wrote down mental purification, and I kept feeling the Arcturian. So when I was going through my own, I'm always like refining and purifying, but when I first really got into consciously working with cleansing the mental plane, I remember the Arcturians came through for me and really assisted with sort of like the embodiment of remembrance of universal law, and how kind of detaching from, any mental clutterings that have been kind of like cobwebbing within you, especially ancestrally, things you picked up from others, for those of us who are really ultra sensitive in terms of empathy and really like heightened clairs, just meaning clear in French. So clairvoyance, for example, clear seeing, or extrasensory perception. Yeah, and I do find personally, again, this is an invitation to tune into yourself and really see where you connect with this. But that was kind of coming through, and I didn't expect them to come through right now. But right before I finally pushed record on this current recording, I did feel them come in, and I heard mental purification, mental clearing, and then that's when, and I didn't say it out loud, I just heard it in my mind, and then when I opened my YouTube to find a background sound, and I saw the Tibetan clearing of old negative thoughts, etc., calm the mind, that was pretty, like, confirming. And so, yeah, and then when I started to just talk and open the channel even deeper, I felt them come through again. So this may be another process you're going through of like confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. And I'm someone who personally has gone through many of these phases of, really, really like sifting through, because, you know, a lot of people can say, oh, that's confirmation bias. And like, yes, that's absolutely a thing for sure. But I have been very like, I guess you could say, careful with discernment and really kind of like vetting through these different frequencies that have been connecting to me and through me. And so, yeah, that can be something you're going through right now. Like, I'm hearing the vetting process. So, you know, explaining these multiple confirmations. You know, if that doesn't apply to you, that's totally okay. It's just, that's what I was feeling. So maybe you just really wanted that extra confirmation. And I'm hearing now inner knowing. So, you know, you'll know this is for you if you really do. Like right now I just got goosebumps. My stepdad calls them the douche chills. I don't know. I've only heard like maybe one other person call them that, but I call them goosebumps. Whatever like you connect to, like the chills on my arms just like, whew, like really got intense. Procrastination. Now I'm hearing procrastination. So when I wanted all day, I was like, it's about 4:25 p.m. There was a commercial on YouTube, or an advertisement, so I just paused for a moment. And I just heard in my head, intercession. I don't even think that's a word, but I heard it, so just said it. Yeah, 4:25 p.m. Intercession? I know there's like intermission, of course, and then precession. So these were, I don't know why these are coming through this way, but that's what I heard, intercession. When that advertisement came in, and then I chose to pause. I didn't have to pause. So there's something about that too. And that word procrastination, like, oh, and now I'm hearing intrusive thoughts, which has been coming up a lot in the collective lately. And I kept feeling that myself. And then I was guided to listen to a few other readers, and that came up. So I know that is a collective energy going on, because when it kept coming through for me, of course, I wanted confirmation. So then I let that kind of show itself to me over the last week, and I still kind of feel it. And like that ad coming through, and, you know, wanting to pause. I'm hearing it's okay to take your time. And like, I heard that song again. I'm hearing it again in my head. Aaliyah, dust yourself off and try again. Like, if it's something that you really feel that you want to pursue, you know, whether it's a passion, a project, a relationship, a certain like lifestyle, dream, like whatever, you know, it could be multiple things. I'm hearing really right now I'm seeing Kuan Yin, the goddess, they say, of compassion, of really having that compassion and taking your time and knowing that time's not running out. And I know that's been like a really big theme for a lot of people, including myself. And I'm actually hosting an event on April 8th, really like talking a lot about time and our relationship to time, and how that is shifting. And I mean, it's also connected to stargates and different time cycles. And yeah, just how as we release these you know, mental clutterings, if you will. And I'm really careful when I say things like that, because, you know, we can easily kind of like view that aspect of the mental mind so negatively. And I get that. But it's also like, you know, part of the human experience. And I just want to honor that, because I think at points where, you know, I was really focused on, you know, rewiring my neural pathways, and I'm hearing microdosing. So some of you might be into microdosing or thinking about microdosing. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not here to give anyone medical advice, but that just was coming up, and, you know, I have had experience with that. So I'm not going to talk about that right now, but just if that is something you are thinking of, and you have any questions just from my past experiences, you know, you can always like drop a comment or message me, and we can talk about that further. I would love to talk about that more in depth. And you might be hearing me say that a lot if you're listening to this, because I am more new to sharing on platforms, social media platforms. I don't even know if YouTube is considered social media. Just sharing my recordings. I kind of am still figuring out that process. And so when I hit on different points and I say I want to go deeper, now just may not be the right time for that, but it's kind of like I'm making a note. And yeah, if anyone listening to this has like something that they would like to hear more on or something more specific, yeah, please feel free to share that, and I will definitely take that into consideration. And so with that little side detour, I actually just lost my train of thought, which nothing is really lost, right? It's just, I feel like speaking of side detours, I feel like I'm being rerouted. And when I paused the video again and I noticed this is the 20-second recording, and I have been seeing 222 a lot, so that might be something you are seeing. And I did write down a few other numbers that were coming up, like 1551 or variations of that, ones and fives, repeating ones and fives, or combinations, repeating sevens and sixes, and 1212. I don't know if I said that. So yeah, also a combination of ones and twos. There's many others. 999 has been coming up a lot as well, but they're the ones that are coming through right now. And these are just, different confirmations. If you're really into numerology or want to be, you can, look up any of those angel numbers, and or just kind of like sit with yourself and see if there's something deeper that wants to come through personally for you. But in my head, I'm hearing alignment, the word alignment, and I just saw an animal. I don't know. A mongoose? I have not thought about a mongoose in I don't even know much about them. So you could look up the mongoose, and I also heard like geese. Now I'm hearing swans. So yeah, there's something about those animals. Oh yeah, and then the bear came through earlier. Now I'm hearing Cygnus, which, so star constellations are coming through a lot. So that can be something you are exploring or have been exploring. And Cygnus, the Swan constellation, they say if you're someone who's into grid work, that could be something you are being called to work with, or if you're already doing it, I'm hearing thank you, and to keep going. And there's I'm seeing expansion in that, and they say Cygnus is the Swan constellation in terms of the organic grid structures of the earth are connected to, I believe, the 22 strands of DNA. So if that's something you have been kind of integrating within yourself or activating, or maybe it's starting to come through for you. Yeah, because now I'm hearing diamond DNA. Okay, so the cat that I'm watching, she just came over and started eating, and she's like eating very loudly. Like I can hear her crunching. You might be able to hear it, I'm not sure. So yeah, I'm being taken to appetite. So if there's something about your appetite that's been a little like, woo, maybe like irregular, or maybe you're like really, really hungry. Like I've noticed lately that I like want to kind of eat like an animal, actually. Actually she eats pretty graceful, but I just mean like, like I was craving white cheddar popcorn so much. And so like when I noticed when I was eating it, I was just like grabbing it by the handful and just like shoving it in my mouth. And I was like, I just want to eat like, so that could be something. I don't know, it's very specific, so only please take that. Or, you could find that your appetite is like just shifting. Maybe you're hungrier than usual at certain times. It's kind of like, I'm hearing growth spurt, but like a spiritual growth spurt or like energetic growth spurt. So it's like, I'm not saying that you're like gaining weight physically. If anything, I feel like it might be the opposite. It's like your physical vessel is becoming less dense, but your like energy body is expanding. And so, yeah, you're like, kind of going through that sort of, mental clearing and expansion, and this like merkaba, vehicle of light body expansion. which brings me to another dream that I had recently where I believe it was actually the same dream as the baby bear. There were other animals in the bed, and I can't remember at the moment, but the bear was standing out, like I said, connected to that Arcturian energy. And I also heard, hibernation, but it was a baby bear. So for some reason that feels specific. Now I'm hearing in my head mama bear. So back to the dream, and later on in the dream I was talking to this woman, and she kind of resembled someone that I know in this lifetime. I don't know her like super well, and I haven't seen her in years, but she kind of reminded me of her a little bit. Actually, the name is Sophia, so that could be relevant for someone of the woman that I know, who this woman resembled me of. Resembled, and I believe she's Greek, so that could also be relevant for someone. Greece, ancient Greece, I'm hearing. Now I'm hearing Venusian. So yeah, there's something about the connection, and now I'm hearing Aphrodite. So there could be that energy coming through for. I'm hearing the expansion of the self-love template, aka the unconditional love template, and so. In the dream, I was looking at this woman, and we were having this conversation, and there was all this stuff going on in the background. And this kind of brings me back to the intrusive thoughts, and how there's, on this earth plane, there's often going to be, distractions. And I'm not saying that's every moment of every day, but I'm hearing you're being asked to, again, really utilize that compassion and that self-love to, even if things feel a little bit difficult to pursue, just to really be patient with yourself, trust you're not running out of time, again, that's coming through, and to dust yourself off and, try again. And if it's something that you just keep trying and you're like, maybe this isn't for me, there could be, like I said in the beginning, that redirection or that detour to either prep you to come back and be really ready for it, or to just kind of maybe there's a micro shift that has to happen to align you onto that more cleared pathway. But for most of you, I don't feel that. I feel like it's more you've already kind of went through that, and now these intrusive thoughts are coming up, and so old thinking patterns might be kind of resurfacing. And I'm hearing that's okay. Let them come up, sit with them, and notice your reaction time in terms of how much quicker you bounce back, and how these older fears, for example, kind of are re-showing themselves. And I'm hearing the word recapitulation. So it's recapping cycles that have come up, and really sitting with yourself for a second and just kind of giving yourself a pat on the back, wow, maybe, and I can use myself as an example. I'm being asked to do this audio recording today. 6 months ago, I would have probably just been oh, you know what? Maybe I'm just not ready to do this. Or, I would have come up with all these excuses that I just wasn't ready. And even though I still, that old pattern kind of came up again this week, I didn't let it actually stop me. I did meditations. I watched something kind of funny. I just let myself work through it. And instead of it being months of debating, it was maybe today, a few hours, so it's noticing your reaction times to things, and how much progress could have come, not could have, but has come. Now I'm hearing in my head the word eradication. So I'm hearing less focus on eradicating, meaning completely getting rid of it, and more just enhanced awareness, enhancing your awareness of these resurfacing patterns, and just kind of observing and if you need to take a step back, and then reapproach when you feel clarity, etc. Now, I was about to go take a walk, and the sun was out, and then it started to drizzle or rain. a little bit, like seemingly out of nowhere. And so I went outside on my friend's deck, and I just kind of sat with the wind and the little droplets of rain for a few moments, and, you know, felt like a nice purge and cleansing, just like breath of fresh air. And that kind of redirected me to like actually sit down and do this recording. And it's not that I haven't wanted to do it. I really like, I love doing this. It was more just, you know, again, that older habit of like, maybe I'm not ready, or maybe, you know, all these doubts kind of creeping in. And now I feel like it's coming up because that portion of the dream that I was talking about with this woman who reminded me of this Greek Sophia that I know, my right hand started to tingle when I said that. I remember, again, there were all those distractions around in the dream, and it was just like her and I having this conversation, and it was almost as if there was no one around us, like we were the only ones in the room, but there were all these other people around. And I remember she laid on her back and started to, like, what's it called? I think they're called bicycles, when you like lay on your back and start to move your feet like a bicycle. And we were talking about the merkaba came up, and I remember asking her in the dream, like, you know, what is, like, I think I said something like, what are you experiencing, or what's going on for you? I'm taking a sip of my beverage. And I remember seeing all of this white light coming through around us. It was like this just pure white light. And as I looked up out of the corner of my eye, I saw I'm still seeing it, like a pearlescent white orb. And then it kind of shifted into like a very light yellow. Now in the dream, she kept talking about the merkaba, and it felt like I was kind of like giving her a transmission in the dream, like I'm hearing in my head crystalline liquid light transmission. And it's like she was aware, but she wasn't. It was very interesting. And she kept saying the left side of the merkaba is really needing some repair. I don't love that word, but that is what she was saying. She was like, I'm really having an issue with the left side. So I was sitting with her, and she was like, it's not just me, there's a lot of people. And as I said that, I just felt this, you know what? I felt this last night as I was trying to fall asleep. It's the same feeling above the left elbow where the crease is. Now this could come through the right side for you, so just take it how it applies. Kind of like where you would maybe get like a needle in your vein or something, which I don't really get many needles at all. So, but it kind of was almost like that feeling. And then it kind of almost felt like it went a little numb. So I'm not exactly sure why that feeling was coming through, but that's what I was feeling. So taking the left merkaba spin, you know, that can be related to the feminine side, and really, you know, trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, and I'm hearing now blind faith, blind trust. That's something when I first started to reconnect with myself more consciously, that kept coming through for me. Blind faith, blind trust. And I don't know, maybe that was like 5 years ago, and that is something that has been kind of a theme for me, so that could be also connected to you in some way. Now my crown is tingling, and I'm hearing back to the eyes. So yeah, there's something about the pineal gland and working with your light body. So yeah, there's so many different ways and approaches we can take. I'm pausing because I wanted to see what was coming through. So in the beginning, I was talking about an expansion. And so, yeah, I do believe that collectively, of course, we're going through this merkaba light body expansion for those of us who are kind of tuned into this. And so working with any sort of like balancing in terms of, and I don't mean like 50% masculine, 50% feminine, perfect 50-50 split of balance. What I mean is working with your own inner balance and what makes you feel more balanced and in alignment. Now, that whole area, when I was saying the crown was tingling, the eyes, the ears, your equilibrium could be feeling a little off, like you might be feeling a little bit dizzy here and there or ungrounded. So that's just an invitation to really tune into the physical vessel and not, right now I'm here, it's not a time to really like try and see how expanded you can be, but to kind of let it happen naturally and just keep bringing it back into the vessel and then allowing it to expand naturally. And I think that's going to help kind of rebalance a lot of these energetic expansions and balance out the the merkaba, or the vehicle of light. This is interesting. My right eye specifically, the last week or two kept feeling like hot spots. Like it happened like a couple times where it would feel like my right eye was just like so hot. Like I could feel like this, like, and I kept hearing my head hot spot. So I'm not exactly sure why that's coming through, but it was coming through very strongly. And then at other points, I could feel my eye getting dry, and I haven't had that. I used to have that a lot, like years ago, and I haven't had it in so long. And then I noticed my scalp, I'm hearing malting, like birds molt. Like my scalp was so dry, like I was just having a lot of dry issues, and I like was almost feeling like I was having a hard time staying hydrated. Like I was drinking water, but it felt like my body wasn't retaining it. And on my left palm, closer to the thumb. So if you're into palmistry, you can look up like where the thumb meets the palm. But it just started to like itch a little bit. And I heard in my head money, like what are those superstitions or people say like, oh, if your left palm itches, you might be coming into some money. So like, yeah, this is just a side detour. If you've been trying to bring forth some sort of material, pentacles, tarot, pentacles, resources, money, it's funny because a neighbor just started to mow the lawn, and I'm pretty sure it's raining out, like it's drizzling. So I feel like that's like an odd combination. Like many people don't do that when the grass is wet, at least to my knowledge. And like it's kind of like revving up, like it sounds like a bit of an engine if you hear it. So yeah, I'm hearing like something is grounding, or some sort of like pentacles are starting to like take root in the physical realm. So that's exciting. I don't know why I heard in my head congratulations. So maybe someone just or you're about to either you are about to or you just did do something that warrants a congratulations. So I'm hearing congratulations. And if it's something physical yet, I'm hearing we're talking about this like spiritual expansion, energetic expansion. So I'm hearing congratulations as like this probably has not been the most easy route, but you really like, again, that blind faith, blind trust have really been, now I'm seeing the High Priestess in Tarot, like really refining your own connection. And I'm hearing the word humble. That was coming through. Someone else was talking about that, a different reader, and I'm hearing it now. So there's something about that, like, and that could go either way. Someone here could be balancing out that humble. Yeah, and that, I was about to say motorcycle. There's no accidents. I meant to say lawnmower. Now I said motorcycle, so that could be relevant. It's getting louder. And so I do feel like something is really like speeding up and and coming in. Now back to the eyes. I remember I was talking about that and the dryness. So you could be experiencing some of these things. And if not, that's okay. Please don't force it to fit. But I took a second to tune into my body because I really love the idea of something that I've been really harnessing, and maybe you have as well, of like, trusting your own body communication. And I noticed a theme. I was really craving salmon, and I have not been eating a lot of meat or fish at all lately, like almost not at all. I don't really like adhere to labels with food. I just kind of go with, with what is kind of going on with me, and I noticed that I was really craving seaweed and salmon, and I haven't had salmon in maybe like, I don't know, 5 months or something. And I was like, okay, what? I'm really dry. Like, what's going on? I feel like there's something that my body really needs right now. So it doesn't have to be these exact examples, but this is just what I was experiencing. So I wanted to share it just in case. And so I kind of sat with myself and, put together those different clues that I was being shown. And then I looked at the commonality of seaweed and salmon, and it was omega-3s. And I used to use a lot of olive oil, and I haven't been lately. Like, there's just been certain things. And so I was like, oh, and then I looked up when your body is lacking omega-3s, what can happen. And it literally was like dryness, dry skin, dry scalp, dry, I think even said dry eye. It was just like everything I've been experiencing. And I was like, oh, perfect. Okay. So I had just enough, I had like $5 on me to get a packet of organic nori seaweed. So that's what I did. And I made myself a really delicious meal last night. Anyway, I'm only saying all this because, there could be something that your body is calling for. And I'm hearing even if you feel short on resources, because I was bringing up how pentacles are starting to take root, I'm hearing just trust that when you need something, it will find a way to get to you. So if it feels like in the moment, you do this reflection and you're like, oh, I really need, I don't know why I'm seeing something gray or and I'm also hearing in my head, oh, it just escaped my mind, the word, but activated charcoal. That could be relevant for someone because that just kind of popped in. I'm hearing just set the intention, let it go. And this may be already something that you do. And trust that, what you need will show up and you need it. If it hasn't already. Yes, there's something like that coming through. And, kind of just really getting back to the basics and tuning in and just seeing what would serve you best right now. Because I know personally I have done this in the past where I would get into rabbit holes about, health and what I need. And I've really been refining and learning that as I need things, or what is truly relevant in that moment, it really helps me focus on those things and then, continue to expand as I go. Okay. Okay, now I'm being taken to, the Auroras. And now I'm hearing the word apogee. Okay, so when I was meditating the other day, it came in clearly. I heard the word apogee. And I honestly, at that moment, I try to keep up with my vocabulary, but sometimes even when I look things up multiple times, I just it may not stick. And apogee is one of those words. And I couldn't remember what it meant in the moment, but it was very interesting because I was setting the intention in this meditative state to kind of expand out and reach my highest point of my inner connection at that moment. And then I heard in my head the word apogee, and I was like, but I turned my phone off, I think, or I wasn't looking at my phone. And I was like, I'm not going to look it up right now. I'm just going to let myself be in this moment. And then I did look it up after, and apogee means the highest point of something. And I also know that it's I believe it's an astrology term. So that could be relevant for someone, astrology, checking your connection to apogee in astrology, and or just sitting with what that means to you. And I just heard the word creation. And so I'm taking a pause for a moment. If you okay, I just felt something in my right. I want to say it's the clavicle. I know the clavicle. But usually it comes through in the clavicle. But it's actually a little bit underneath of the clavicle, so almost where your armpit, right in between that highest point. Speaking of highest point of the armpit, where it connects to the shoulder and the clavicle. So in that area, I'm hearing again. I'm not a doctor, but I am an herbalist, and I work with a lot of these different kind of holistic techniques. And when I haven't felt this in a while actually, but usually when I feel this, to me it's a call for lymphatic drainage. So if you're someone who's already working with lymphatic drainage, I'm hearing now would be a good time, especially in that area of the chest, you know, the neck, under the arms, around the shoulders. And if it's not something you're familiar with, there are plenty of YouTube videos that you can kind of look up and educate yourself if that's something you feel called to do. But yeah, working with the lymph system and draining lymphatic drainage is absolutely something you can do yourself. There's also people who do it. And again, if you're already doing this, I'm hearing it's really good for you. Another way actually to work with your lymph system is cold plunges, cold water, a cold shower, drinking some like hot water and, or, you know, like very warm water, I should say. And you can add different things according to what you feel connected to. Right now I'm seeing turmeric and lemon and ginger for some reason for someone. But please always trust yourself. But yeah, I am feeling that. And now I'm hearing karma clearing. So yeah, there's just been these ancestral loops and patterns that are kind of, I really do feel like if someone's hearing this, it's like something you've already really been working through, even if you haven't been extremely conscious of that. I took a pause, so if this does not flow with what I just last said, I'll just trust that. Okay. Oh, lymphatic drainage, and calling in any like supplements, resources. Like I said, I have been craving seaweed for like a few weeks now, and so I've been really doing my best to access that and utilize it. Yeah, so that could be it for someone as well, but really just an invitation, like I said, to tune into yourself and see like what are you craving, and maybe connect it to things that may need some attention in your physical body. And I used to like kind of get a little bit like when I would hear people say that, like I get that. So if someone hears like I get that feeling, so it's okay. Of course, this is just an invitation. And if you don't connect with that at all, you can just let it fly. Okay. It's funny because the auroras keep coming through and I keep going to talk about it, and then it's like sidetracking me to these different points. And so I can't remember if I've talked about them in another video that I've posted. If you're someone who is connected with the auroras before, and I will explain a little bit about the connection to them, then this is definitely for you. And if you haven't, you may soon. Now the northern lights are coming up, and some of the solar flare, geomagnetic storms. So if that's something that you are into, this could extra be for you. And like I said, if not, you may be soon. And so it's really funny because I kept feeling drawn to watch like silly things. I shouldn't say silly, but just things that like, you know, I just felt like watching. And I was drawn to the name of the movie, literally just left my mind. Eurovision with Rachel McAdams and Will Ferrell. And you know, if you haven't seen it, it takes place in Iceland, and Husavik, I believe, is the name of the town that they live in. So any of this could be relevant. But the point is, you know, that a lot of that culture, even if it's still not completely present today, but they're known for, you know, believing in elves and, you know, other beings that share the land and etc. That's a whole other thing I would love to talk about another time and more deeply. But so there was a reference to that, and it got me thinking. There were a few other things that I kept coming up for me that had me thinking about this. And then I will explain what that is in a moment. But my phone somehow like took me to this article. Like I have no idea how it happened, but I just somehow got taken to this article, which I don't know the website. I wasn't searching any of this. And it was talking about the Aurora activity and how because of the increase in solar flares and geomagnetic activity, 444 on the timer as I said that. There will be more visible spots in North America for the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights. And now when I connect with the auroras, to me, they come through. When I say they, I do feel like it's a part of my energetic signature, actually. Like it's connected like through me a few times. And I will tell that story one day, but I'm not going to tell it today. So if you've had any of that connection, some people I've heard connect with them through the sun. I tend to actually connect with that energy more like in the dark for some reason. Yeah, so these are just little tidbits of maybe experiences that you've had or you might be having that I've had previously. Excuse me. And so when this article came up, I was just thinking about how the connection points of the Aurora Borealis, for example, and how it shows in different spots, and how the sun is, we're going through these solar flares, and they seem to be getting more active, which of course, if you're sensitive and tuned in, at least in my experiences and research, will kind of amplify your own sensitivities. And so as I was kind of sitting with this and I was thinking about the different parts of the world where it's visible to see the Aurora Borealis. And for me, I always kind of connect the auroras, like these light beings that kind of project through that frequency to the, if you're into like inner earth and kind of like I'm being shown like the pulse of the earth, the Schumann resonance. And I don't know if I've ever talked about this in audio before. I don't think I have, but one day I was sitting with this energy and I was like, I feel like the rise of the Schumann resonance in the last like couple months, and then the rise in these solar activities, and now the connection point to the Aurora Borealis popping up in places it hasn't before. It's like when we tune in and there's a collective, they say it has to reach critical mass for like a collective shift to happen in terms of like a consciousness shift, and those places where the Aurora Borealis is more visible, there are these like legends that live on of like cultural belief in something outside of yourself, like a heart-based connection. I'm not saying this is like a hard scientific fact. This is just something that was kind of sitting in my consciousness for a little while now that I've wanted to speak about, and it's coming up right now, so I'm sharing it. And yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts. If you're listening to this, like, please feel free to share. And when the rise of the Schumann resonance was just noted, and now of course, like I said, we're seeing the aurora activity rising with the solar flares and the geomagnetic energy expansion, this shift in consciousness and how that's connected to our collective. So it's pretty cool. And I always feel like the idea of inner earth and all the different names that can come with that, to me it's like an energetic vibrational thing. So when I tune into it and I connect, whether it's through like meditation, astral experiences, dreams, walking around and seeing things that maybe someone next to me doesn't see, in terms of like other realms kind of coming through, I really do feel that this tipping point of more beings connecting within and expanding, like we were talking about that expansion, it's now starting to show up externally on the planet, which is super cool. And yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because this could be something that you are connecting with. Most likely, if you're hearing this and you got this far, then you probably are. So yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts or your experiences in the comments. And now I'm being taken back to the clavicle. And so oftentimes for me, the clavicle is connected to clearing ancestral karma. And I'm being taken back to a memory where when I first started really, really like consciously tuning into these inner earth realms, if you will, they showed me like the clavicle and how I can like kind of utilize that as like a key, like a key. They were like clavicle keys. So they showed me into these realms. And that's when I really started to notice the color of my everyday life was so enhanced. It's kind of like what's that movie, Pleasantville, when, you know, she sees in color for the first time. And it's like, whoa, like everyone around you is seeing black and white. Like obviously people around me are not just seeing black and white, but everything was so vibrant. And I would like utilize these, you know, clavicle keys, if you will. And I was doing a lot of meditation, like outside in the sun, over like walking to the water that I used to live near, a river. And then the color was like, it wasn't just like something enhanced color, but I was seeing color in places that, you know, in the sky, I was seeing like reds and purples and violet and all these different shades of color, like morphing and kind of like showing different frequencies and aspects of it. And when that first started happening, I don't remember how long ago it's been. Now it's just a part of my everyday life, but and it, you know, it has expanded since then in many different ways, which I will again go into. Sometimes it shows up as an aura, like around a person or a thing or an animal, and sometimes it's just its own like energetic frequency or signature kind of showing itself to me. And I always kind of connected that to like the inner realms of what people would call like inner earth. And so I do feel like this, these connection points that I'm making of not just me, but that are coming through right now that I've been focusing on, and I'm sure a lot of others are as well, with the expansion of the solar flare, the rise of the Schumann resonance, the remembrance of these other beings and these other realms that we are quite literally, you know, going within to remember, and then like grounding that. And I was saying earlier, I can feel the energy speeding up, so my apologies if it's coming out super fast, but yeah, it's like grounding those pentacles, taking root. And it's also not just like physical things, but these, you know, inner realms and these other frequencies that those of us connect to and remember, and they're starting to show up, you know, in our external world, which is super cool. And I think the message of the Auroras today wanted to come through connected. You know, they say the Auroras are connected to Andromeda Galaxy and the next harmonic universe. So those of us who are, like I was talking about the Cygnus constellation and tuning into the 22 strands of the DNA and like the future organic grid structures coming back online, it's like as those of us who are maybe like in those frequencies already, or at least like, you know, kind of exploring them, we are quite literally like birthing them. And I was having dreams about birth, which I will go into detail in another audio. But so yeah, if you feel connected to this, just know, I heard take a breath. And that's those spurts of like fast energy, slow energy. It's really important right now to tune into yourself and allow your own natural rhythms to come through. And some of that might feel like speeding up at times and then slowing down at times. And I remember a friend of mine a few weeks ago said to me, like, everyone keeps talking about the energy speeding up, but like, I don't feel it speeding up. Do you? And I kind of, you know, I had to sit with that for a second, and I was like, sometimes like it does feel like really expansive at moments, or things are going super fast, and then it kind of like pulls back. So I really do think it's up to, you know, each individual. And I was talking about the relationship to time before, and how as we connect with our own time cycles and these what has been called the Aurora avatar time cycles, or there's another word, for some reason it's not coming through at the moment. We are literally like co-creating these like these organic grid structures that allow us to hold our own time cycles, you know, like our own relationship to time. So what might be perceived for me might be a little bit different for you. And I was really hesitant to talk about these things for some reason, but when I burp, by the way, I'm usually clearing energy in some sort, and that might be something you do as well. I knew it comes through for different people in different ways. I know this one woman who used to yawn a lot when she was clearing energy. You know, so however, sometimes I sneeze. So yeah, just know that if I'm doing that, it's part of clearing, and that is attached to the intentions that I set when I open these containers. I'm just slowing down the energy a little bit. So yeah, these these time I want to say they're like new time cycles. And when we, as we expand, like I've been talking about, and kind of ground into that and ground these different knowings. Whew, my heart just like jumped and skipped a beat because the cat that I am watching, her name is Misty. She just like made a crazy noise. So if you heard that, like shaking. Now I'm hearing like shaking up, like things are being shaken up and starting to fall away more. Not just like for those of us who are doing it individually, but collective things are starting to shift like that. So yeah, that was the message. And I could talk about the auroras like all day, and I can't wait to talk about it more. And in this event that I want to do on April 8th, I know that that's going to be a big part of it. So yeah, if you feel drawn to that, drop a comment and I can send you the information. But I just looked at the clock and it's 5:10 on the East Coast when I'm recording this, and that is actually my mom's birthday, May 10th. So there may be something about seeing repeating like birthday numbers, whether it's yourself or your family, someone close to you. And now I'm hearing like mother healing. So back to the left side of the merkaba, that the feminine, I do believe, and I'm hearing the word matrix, and I believe in Latin it's mater, which is mother. So we're not just talking about like, yes, individually healing with our own mothers, if that's something you've been through or you're feeling called to work on, but just know that that like ripples out if you weren't aware of that, and the relationship to, I feel like this has been coming up a lot too. And of course, this is just my perspective of, how it comes through for me. So, please only take this if it feels good for you. But a lot of people keep making the reference, and I get it, like escaping the matrix. And that's something else that I've been being called to talk about. And so this whole idea of matrix, mother, feminine, and really just like embodying these things and, honoring and kind of like sitting with what is and knowing that everything is in, the universal fabric of being woven and how things are playing out, and also just holding those higher frequencies and visions that a lot of us receive, and kind of weaving it in timing, in again, our own cycles of timing, and yeah, I feel like I'm just going to kind of close my eyes for a second, and you can do the same and just see if anything else wants to come through. Okay, I heard in my head declutter, and that has been coming up a lot lately, as well as we were talking about the mental plane, and some people may be called to like physically declutter, and I love helping people to do that. I've helped some friends and family over the years, just kind of like let go of things that they've been holding on to. They know it's time to let it go, whether it's emotional, physical, mental, etc. And if you've gotten this far, thank you so much for listening, because I have had so many ideas and, dreams and meditations and thoughts and channels and different things, if you will, that I've been just kind of like sitting with for so long. So now that I'm making these audios, I feel like when it comes out, sometimes it can feel a little bit maybe like, not word vomit, of course, but like just the idea of like, oh, there's so much to come through. I don't know if that will change, honestly, because that's just, even when I do private sessions, it comes through that way. But there is something about like even having like idea declutter. And I think I talked about this in another reading, or another transmission. Yeah, so the idea of just allowing yourself to declutter in any way that is coming up for you right now. Another YouTube ad popped in, and the word dance, there were other words, but I noticed the word dance. So dancing might be really, really relevant right now, because a lot of us have been doing like deeper shadow work for the last couple days, weeks, months, years. Sometimes it's not always about, just going into the depths and like digging for things, but like dance is such a beautiful way, at least personally, to just allow to get out of your head and just get into your body. And of course, it can be yoga, dance, a mix, martial arts, like whatever you feel called to tune into your physical body and kind of let it flow. There's something I like to do that I just call it chi or ki flow, like Ki or Qi, like the life force energy. I believe in Japanese it's Ki, chi, and then in Chinese it's Chi, I think, chi, ki, to really like, so I call it ki flow or chi flow, and I just like tune in, and all the different practices that I've done, you know, Kundalini yoga, gymnastics, dance, and I just like let my body show me what it needs. And of course, if that's something you don't feel comfortable with, and you like to like have a guide, then by all means, you know, a million things on YouTube, go to a class in person, but whatever it is, I think right now really like getting into your body and going out and taking a nice walk. And if you're already doing these things, then I'm hearing that's really great. Like please continue incorporating that into your life. Okay, I'm just going to close my eyes again and offer a crystalline liquid light transmission. And I'm hearing to receive this. All you have to do is, you know, mentally say yes, or you can say it out loud if you'd like, that for the next 24 to 48 hours from when you hear this recording, you will receive a beautiful spiral of crystalline liquid light. And I'm seeing like a golden Christic type of frequency, and then like the feminine Sophia pearlescent, and they're kind of like intertwining together in a clockwise spiral. Now I'm seeing like a turquoise, which to me always kind of connects to the mother arc, you know, the heart and the throat coming together, the blue and the green, like that, the connection to water, you know, the flow. And however, and I'm also seeing those pearlescent orbs again. And however it comes through for you, of course, is perfect. And I just got chills in my legs, so yeah. And before you go to sleep, you can utilize a quick visualization, or just set the intention to receive however this will come through for you. And yeah, I'm hearing 24 to 48 hours, so you can pay attention to your dreams, how you feel when you wake up, even if you don't quite remember the dreams. So maybe just pay attention to the feelings that come up for you when you awake. And if you can give yourself like a few extra minutes before kind of just like jumping out of bed, if you're already doing this, then that's great. But if not, I'm sure, you know, we all have our different ways of connecting. So it could be like after a deep meditation to just, yeah, like give yourself a few moments to like sit in these frequencies and allow them to really like permeate each individual cell on your body into the molecular structure, the water within the body, and kind of just like feeling into the subtle bodies. They say in a lot of traditions there's 7 subtle bodies, and just feel that like weaving of all of the expansiveness we've been talking about, and then coming into the physical vessel, you know, into the blood, into the organs. And of course, your own individual energetic signature will like co-create the experience for you a little bit more personally. And I'm hearing, don't worry if in that moment you're not quite seeing, feeling, or perceiving. Just know that you are like weaving that web for yourself, and that in the perfect divine moment, you know, it will come through for you in the way that is meant to. All right, well, thank you so much, and I think that's all for now.